noticed my boyfriend was asleep, so I wanted to go fuck my ex real quick. So I drove down to the gas station, let him cream pie me, and then I came home to sneak into bed. My boyfriend woke up and then wanted to fuck me, and he started eating me out and told me how good my pussy tastes, and he's eating my ex's cum out of me, and I never told.
I didn't want to believe it, but looking at her laughing like that makes it credible. And even the host, look at his reaction, is totally disgusted by what she just said. How on earth can someone let something so disgusting happen? So guys, grab your popcorn and let's delve into the dive of how to choose your wife wisely. First of all, welcome back to Masculine Academy channel, where we are helping men become their best version physically, emotionally, financially, and spiritually. Today we have an uncensored episode where we'll be viewing different aspects of relationships, from OnlyFans to delusional women, but also the danger of promiscuity. We'll be covering all angles. Let's dive in.
Let's say I date a woman and she really wants to go into some locker room for some football guys and she wants to have an orgy with them and she wants to film it and send it to me. I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. That sounds super hot. Like, you really take like 10 guys all at once? That's like how I would view it. I would view it as like, that's so interesting. Like, that's so cool. Please do that.
See, that's nasty to me.
Yeah, but I just find it like, damn, she can do that. That's like bad. It's like, that's why I view
You're
it.
looking
Yeah.
at it as like a science experiment.
Yeah,
almost.
a little bit, or like marathon. I don't know. That's how I view it a little bit. Yeah.
You're incredibly unique. I'm looking at it saying that's nasty because now she's spreading her goods with everybody. And by the way,
you go to get tested, or you use condoms, or everyone gets tested beforehand. You know, you plan all these things out so you don't run into issues.
What type of achievement is that? This is totally nasty. An achievement is something that is difficult to obtain. How opening your legs something quite difficult. You're exposing yourself not only to STIs, but also the possibility of having a baby by a random guy. At least a marathon requires you to train beforehand. You have to be prepared physically, but also emotionally, because it's quite draining. It is so critical for women to be surrounded with the right type of friends.
Body count does not matter because I have over 100 bodies.
20 years old, right?
Yes.
Over 100 bodies. Do you know exactly how much it is?
No idea.
It's like saying the sun doesn't exist because I always stay at home. The only people that say that body count doesn't matter are people that actually have a high body count. So free love was the idea. So is sleeping with a man that will not call you back the next day, is that free love? Is catching STDs with a random person, is that free love? Becoming addicted to short-term pleasure, that is not free love. That's a form of slavery. Let's continue.
Should a guy earn for you to date him?
Over 500k, close to $1 million. If he doesn't, I'm not gonna say yes. Do you hear me?
How much should a guy pay for the engagement ring?
He needs to pay again. 500. He gets paid every year. 500. He saves that towards the ring. If he doesn't, he's gonna get a no, and it's gonna be embarrassing. You're welcome.
Do you see how her friends are cheering her attitude? A lot of women will encourage their girlfriends to have this type of totally unrealistic attitude, because at the end of the day, that means that this is less competition on the dating market for them. The same way women tend to accept women that are obese or overweight. It has been proven by research that this is due to less competition when it comes to the dating pool. And this is sadly the society that we have now, especially in the US. And this has been pushed a lot by the hip-hop culture, where men are being viewed as wallet and women are being viewed as sex objects. So it's basically exchanging money for sex, or prostitution if you want. And this is even more prominent in certain type of environments, especially in the black community. And that is very sad, because at the end of the day, men and women are complementary. And if you only seek one aspect, the financial aspect on one side and the hedonistic aspect on the other side, that's not going to work for everyone.
One time I went and had an Uber pick me up. He was super hot. So I was like, hey, like, do you want to have sex? And he pulled over and he was like, totally, right? And then he sucked, right? He sucked.
He was scared.
So I got out of the vehicle and then I complained and was like, so I wouldn't have to pay. So then this other Uber driver pulls up and then I tell him about the experience. And I'm like, I just fucked my last Uber driver and he was so shitty. You know, I had to cancel. I didn't say like some bullshit happened, you know, so I didn't have to pay. And this guy's like, okay, cool. Like, well, do you want to like give me a blowjob? And I was like, okay, sure. Why not? And then I give him a blowjob all the way from LA to Huntington Beach. It was a really fucking long time.
That's like an hour.
Yeah, this was a long blowjob. It was a long blowjob. And then I got out of the car and he's like, don't worry, I won't charge you. And then the motherfucking charged me.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That was the last time I fucked an Uber driver. I was like, y'all fuckers. You
Wait,
know?
what? Ruined it.
Obviously, I do not support lying to someone else. But at the same time, this guy was focused on his mission. So I can't even complain about that. But let's go back to the story. So she's very happy to put anyone in her mouth. Random dude. These people are not scared of catching some type of STDs. But even for the guy, like letting a random girl doing this to him, that is extremely risky. As I always say, stupid decisions always lead to dreadful outcomes.
Me and a mosquito.
I don't know. What's the difference between you and a mosquito?
When you smack me, I don't stop sucking.
It's obviously a joke, but when you see the type of underlying behavior, it is quite shocking. Sometimes I'm wondering where the fathers of these ladies are. I'm pretty sure that none of them have been raised by their fathers. If you enjoyed this video, let me know by liking the video and subscribe for more similar content.
If you have 2 kids and you love them the same, why can't I have 2 boyfriends that I love the same at the same time? Huh? Unless you like one of your kids more. I'm just asking!
Let me put it this way. Any women suggesting that they want some type of polygamy or open relationship, or even the ability to cheat even once, that's a red flag. Do not commit to these women.
I don't know
So,
how being on
back
my
to your
phone
point.
correlates to cheating. That's f***ing ridiculous.
A lot of things will be hard for you to comprehend. That's why you're in sex work, because you can't offer value in the marketplace.
What the fuck?
Fatality.
Yeah, no, if you have legitimate...
I think I have a lot more to offer
if
than
you
just
had
being on
significant,
OnlyFans.
if you had
like that I
significant...
started
One
2
second,
months
love.
ago. Like there's a
One
lot
second,
more
love.
to offer than
If
that.
you had
Love.
significant IQ
Yeah.
and skill set, you'd be able to go into the marketplace and earn a good income such that you
Oh,
didn't have to
gotcha.
do that. Being that the most valuable thing about you is something that you never earned. You didn't earn knowledge, you didn't earn skills. It's your breasts that you paid for and your butthole. So you market that to earn money.
Finish him.
If you weren't doing OnlyFans, how would you earn a 6-figure plus income?
Work at one of the I work at one of the best clubs in Las
You
Vegas.
seem like you're having trouble with English for a second.
He is not wrong. There is no way that these women will be able to get a 6-figure income by doing another job that is not OnlyFans. I will tend to blame much more the men that are paying for OnlyFans than the OnlyFans model. Because they are the ones that are funding the industry. So without the simp men paying every single month a subscription on OnlyFans, the industry of OnlyFans would not even exist. And some people are arguing the fact that men have always been around like porn or sex work, but there's a huge difference, especially now that pretty much like all online porns are free. Having to pay for OnlyFans for the feeling of having a girlfriend, that is totally ludicrous.
I respect my man. I don't do that. Because if I go out dressed a certain way, I know I'm looking for some kind of attention that I'm not looking for. I'm committed to him and only him. I don't do that.
Men and women are different. And what men seek is much more respect than love. It's totally different than women that are mostly interested in love. But men their deepest desire is usually respect, much more. And obviously men appreciate if they have a woman that love them, of course. But the highest desire is usually respect. And this is why you will see a lot of young men attracted to joining gangs, for example. Because they will gain respect by joining the gangs. And you will even have a lot of men that will risk their life doing all type of challenges and dares just to impress other men or even other women. So when a woman is telling you that she's not going to dress in a certain way because she respects you, then the man is probably the happiest man on earth.
Two types of human being. We've got the one-night stand human being, repetitive one-night stands, and we've got the long-term committed relationship human being. And then we might ask, okay, what are the personality characteristics of the people in those bins? So let's go to the short-term one-night stand sequential relationship types. Okay, who are they? Psychopathic, narcissistic, Machiavellian, and sadistic.
All one-night stand people?
If they don't start out that way, they're going to end that way. Right? Because you can't use yourself or other people for short-term gratification. The definition of a psychopath is someone who uses someone for short-term gratification. Okay, so it's definitional, right? So, and then you might say, well, I'm not like that, I just like sex. It's like, yeah, but if you practice that for 5 years, you're not going to become what you practice.
People will ask me whether I'm more supportive of long-term relationship like marriage or short-term relationships. I will always say, stay away from the hedonistic lifestyle. That's not conducive to long-term fulfillment for men. If you dominate your short-term pleasure, you can eventually find fulfillment. Anything in life that has meaning, that is an achievement, requires you to manage your short-term temptation and embrace sometimes suffering, voluntary suffering.
I do think there are scientific and biological reasons why it is bad for both women and men to have what they refer to as high body counts. They're constantly emphasizing this to young women that go out there and have OnlyFans accounts and everything else about how bad it is for women to have high body counts. Totally agree with that. Where I disagree with some of their other conclusions is this idea that, well, it's just not the same if men have high body counts. That standard is supposed to apply morally equally for both men and women. Nothing drives me more nuts than a guy that is speaking truth when he says, look, if you're the sort of woman that is going out there sleeping with a bunch of dudes, it makes you far less desirable as a potential wife. But then that dude goes out and participates in activity which creates the sort of attributes he doesn't want in a wife. It is hypocritical.
I would even go one step further than the moral question. Of course, it is morally questionable whether high body count is good for men. But just looking at the research, this graph is very clear that high body count impacts both men and women. It obviously impacts women much more, but it does impact men quite a lot. And the difference in this specific research is not that much between men and women that are impacted by high promiscuity. So when some of the guys tell you that it is totally fine to have a high body count, or even they encourage a high body count, it is not necessarily conducive to have long-term relationship. At the end of the day, choosing your wife wisely is the most important decision in your life. You shouldn't become nihilistic, stating that all women are trash or there is no good woman left. Of course there are some, but are you men of value? Are you men worth marrying? That's the real question. Also, having wife and a kid is the most fulfilling experience that you can ever experience as a man. And this is coming from everyone that have experienced successful careers as well. But despite that, most of them highlight that their wife and their kid is the most important aspect of their life. Of course, there are huge risks of getting married today, especially with the family court system. And I encourage obviously all men to be fully aware of the laws before committing to marriage. I even recommend going for a prenup. But there's also the opportunity risk of not getting married. You can potentially miss having a fantastic relationship with a wife, but also having kids, which is probably the most important aspect of life, in my opinion. And finally, you should always judge people, especially women, on what they do and not what they say. And if you're interested of watching this video that went viral last time, I recommend you to click on this link. Let's face it, sometimes words are like onions. The more you peel the layers of words, the more you cry, but eventually you will get to the truth in the deeper layer.